Welcome to the Disc Dog Pod. I'm Jeff Hill, your host, and your host,
Kirby McIlveen.
That's right. And today we're going to talk about the Incredible Dog Challenge, which is a very exciting event, one of the most famous competitions in the world for disc.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, before we were doing this, I was thinking it's probably one of the most influential events for the sport ever.
Absolutely.
And I think if you polled people and asked, how did you get involved in the sport? I think you'd have a pretty significant chunk that says it's because of the Purina Incredible Dog Challenge that they got started.
And if you aren't familiar with it, if you've seen Frisbee on TV in a competition format, most likely it was the Incredible Dog Challenge. It airs every year. There are usually at least 3 competitions per year, sometimes more, sometimes less. And it's aired on all of the major networks pretty much.
Yeah, they've changed some stuff over the years. I mean, most of the time it's the Western, Eastern, and finals.
And then sometimes
events.
You might have something in a special place, like when they had it in Canada.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And Colorado at least once.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, they've added a Central before just for the heck of it. So, I think. Well, where do we want to start with this? There's so much to say about this.
Well, maybe
event.
A little bit about the history.
Sure.
I don't know a lot about it. I just know one small piece of the history. And I was told many years ago that it was brought to the community because the people who do shows didn't have a place to really compete so much, and they wanted their own place. And it was to really gear towards the show people. So it's a very flashy kind of show that you do when you're competing in the Incredible Dog Challenge. It's only freestyle. There are bonus throws at the end, but it's basically just freestyle. And so it's, they've had some other games too over the years now and then, but the freestyle is pretty much the thing that everyone's, watching, and what the scores are really matter, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what's been consistent over time. I mean, I think when they've had some other games, and it's been like the speed disc thing where it's like a multi-disc game. They only kept that around maybe a year or two.
Right.
But I think they've had some different unique events before, like, we should mention also that not only does the Purina Incredible Dog Challenge have disc, they also have agility, they have dock diving. Sometimes they'll have the Jack Russell Terrier races, which are very entertaining to watch. And you know exactly what I'm talking about if you've seen it.
They've even had some fly ball.
Yeah, they've had fly ball. So they've
also more than a dock diving, because there's 2 different types. There's the distance and then the height, right? There's 2
Well,
different
I think they used to do the extreme vertical one. Now, I don't know what their name was for it, but I don't think it lasted very long. The one that they do now is Fetch It, where it's actually the distance event. So it's another form of distance dock diving, but they're aiming at a target instead of just the handler
they
throwing
don't take it out of the air. They get it at the end. Is that how it works?
So, well, I think that it starts at like a certain point, like let's say 10 feet would be to start. Then they move it to 12 feet and 14 feet. I'm not exactly sure the measurements, so I'm sure the dock diving people watching are probably rolling their eyes.
At us. Sorry.
Sorry, I don't know all the rules about all of the dock diving details, but I do know that the Fetch It event is kind of like the distance, and they have to grab the target out of the air. And then it's basically the dogs keep going until they can no longer reach it. And some of these dogs can jump really, really far. It's pretty incredible. So, the Incredible Dog Challenge is inclusive of many different dog sports. And so it's kind of like a doggy Olympics in a way, where it's a showcase of all different kinds of athleticism. And they've had, many different types of demo events, like we mentioned flyball. I think the Canada one had like a skiing agility thing. Did Angela Tushik win that with Rally? I think she may have. And that was really, really neat. You'll have to look up some old videos to see that in action.
Did they do the moguls with the person and then the dog? I don't remember.
There was some kind of race.
There was a lot of interesting things they've done over the years.
They've done a lot of different unique things. So, it's been around since 99, I think was the first year. So, if you haven't heard of this or seen this before, you've got to go look at it. Even, if you're somehow hearing or not a disc dogger, definitely go check this out, because this is really, really cool. So, part of this is on topic because this weekend we are about to compete in the Purina Incredible Dog Challenge Western Regional, which is going to be in Huntington Beach, which was my hometown formerly, and I've moved away from that 10 years ago. But It definitely feels like a little piece of home since I used to live very close to the venue.
How many times have you been invited? Do you know?
Oh gosh. Okay. I don't know invited, but I've been to IDC every year in some format since 2009.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. I've competed, whether it's regional or final, or some years it was just one event. Every year since 2009. That was my first year. The very first year. So if you don't know, it kind of works on an invite system. So typically what happens in disc, and it's kind of like this for the other sports, but we're mostly going to focus on disc for this episode of the podcast since that's what we know. It's usually that 4 teams get invited, and then the Friday before the event, they'll have a qualifier where they'll generally take the top 2. Sometimes it's top 3. It kind of just depends. I mean, if the scores were really close or something, they might take 3rd place, or, if they're really unique for some reason, they may take 3rd place, but they typically guarantee that they'll take the top 2.
Right. And you normally have at least 6. And one of the 4 people that is invited is typically the person that won that event the year before.
Yeah.
Meaning if it's a regional, whoever won the regional the year before for that location will be back. For national finals, the winner for the national finals gets invited back to the national finals. And they won't compete or be invited or anything to the regionals. They just go directly to the finals.
Yeah. So that's one ticket to get invited, is to win the regional. But of course, to get to the regional, you either have to be one of 4 invitees, or you have to qualify on Friday. So that's where my journey with IDC began in 2009, back in San Diego at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. We were in, was it the horse arena? I think it was. It was like a covered arena. And
while the fair was going on.
Yeah, while the fair was going on, which was wild. I remember you having the turkey. I still have that picture. Maybe that's going to be the thumbnail picture for this episode.
So one of the fun things with the IDC in that location was the fair, and we had all the crazy fair food. And I was the guy going out there getting all of the stuff. Most of the people.
And Jeff was like really, really skinny. Like he was just like this tiny, skinny guy.
Right.
And he was eating like crazy.
I was able to eat a lot.
He was like the Joey Chestnut of the group. He was just kept eating.
And most people in the group, in the disc group at least, I don't know about the others, but they don't really want to eat a whole lot and that kind of thing. And they just want to, do the competition, maybe walk around a little bit and just check things out. But I was just eating everything. I was eating the deep fried Oreos and the butter sticks but the turkey leg was the one. I came back with a turkey leg.
It was like the size of your head.
It was like it came off of a monster or something.
It was a big old turkey.
It
was funny.
So yeah, that was fun.
It was really funny.
That's a little bit about my history.
Yeah, that was so. So wait, what was your first year?
So I think my first year may have been the same. It may have been 09. It was either 9 or 10. It was either 2009 or 2010.
It had to be 9.
Yeah, it was one.
I'm pretty sure it was 9.
I didn't go before you. I don't think. We probably went the same year.
Well, I think the year prior to that it was in Texas, so we didn't go.
There you go.
And we were newer-ish.
And as soon as they said it was coming up, then that's probably when we both were like, we gotta go.
But your first. Wait. Did you do the qualifier though?
Yes.
In 2009, or were you invited?
No, I was not invited. I didn't get invited until maybe like 2010.
10. Yeah, I thought we both got invited in 2010.
It's hard to remember when we're going back.
I know. Gosh.
Over a decade. Decade and a half.
See, again, this is why we have to record, because we're starting to forget we're getting old. So 2009 was my first event. And this event was really significant for me because it was the first time in preparation for anything that I actually went out and practiced my throws by myself, because I wanted to get on so bad. And my dog's sketch was perfect, of course. And it was me that was the problem, as usual. So I went out and, I was practicing my freestyle throws in preparation for that event a lot. And it paid off because we won the qualifier. That was the first competition that we ever won that wasn't like a kids division. And then we made it into Saturday, which was really cool. I mean, it was just, that whole event was like a shock and a whirlwind, and it was so much fun.
And the format is virtually every year is Friday is the last chance qualifier for it, or whatever you want to call it. And then the qualifier. And then Saturday is the actual event. And that has held true for the finals, the regionals, virtually every single event. I think everyone I've been involved with has had that, except for the COVID year. That one, there was no qualifier.
Well, but didn't they have a practice day?
They
didn't have a qualifier. They actually didn't have a qualifier in 2021 either.
Okay. Yeah. So then if you get invited, you get to do a practice round on Friday. So that's nice. You get to see the field, and some people skip it. Most people do it. I highly recommend doing it. You will always learn something. There was one time I had to skip it because I hurt my ankle the day before. I hurt it really bad. We went hiking and I blew up my ankle.
I kicked him.
I'm thinking it's more dangerous for me to go out there and try to just do the warm up than to, just go out on Saturday and try to give it my all. But it's a big advantage to do the warm up because you need to see the field. Especially where we are, the wind's consistent, so you need to know where to go for the wind and things like that.
Yeah, Huntington Beach particularly is very windy, and they've had it there almost every year since 2014. I mean, they've moved it a couple times, but not very often. Most of the time it's been in Huntington Beach. And Huntington Beach is very windy. I can tell you from long time living there and growing up there, it can get really bad.
And it's always windy.
It's always
pretty much guaranteed you're going to have wind one way or the other.
I think there was one year where it was very mild. And that was like the first year that they had it. And I was like, you guys are so lucky right now that it didn't just blow like crazy, because it really can.
And the field is enclosed. So this is something to keep in mind. Much different than a normal disc competition field. It's way smaller.
Yeah.
It's not tiny by any stretch of the imagination, but it's about 35 yards long, maybe 40 from end to end, maybe, but it's probably not. It's probably under that. And width, it's pretty wide. It's maybe 25 yards wide, something like that.
Yeah, it's smaller than your normal competition field for sure.
And it's a wall that goes around. It's not very big, but maybe a 2.5 feet wall.
Yeah,
like that.
And they're, block panels, right? So it's not open. I mean, some of the dogs, that kind of freaks them out.
Yes.
They're not too sure about it.
And people every year, including in freestyle, throw the discs out of the field. And the dogs go jumping out. Every single event I've ever been to, there are dogs jumping over.
I've done it.
Yes, I've done it too.
It's happened because it's
not
so
in freestyle. I haven't.
It's so much smaller than we're used to.
Yes.
And when you're playing out there, I mean, it's hard not to revert back to. And that's one of the reasons that Jeff recommended to play on Friday, to kind of get used to the field. And especially if you have a big routine or if you do a lot of field movement, you pretty much have to play. If you want to get your bearings on where you are and where you're going to be on the field, because I've had that happen before, just doing, not even a routine with that much field movement back in the day. And I got kind of shut into a corner and I got screwed because the way that I had to throw was not going to work with the throw I needed to make. So it kind of got a little bit hairy there. So
that is so true. I will say that when I do my warm up round, virtually every single time I make an adjustment after. Yeah. Especially my starting position. My starting position is pretty much going to dictate where I am throughout the whole round.
Same.
So whenever I start and I do my practice round, I'm going to realize, okay, I need to move. And you're not going to be able to redo it. You get your one practice round, you go out and do it, and you get off the field, and then they put the next person on. They run through you pretty quick. So you're not going to be like, oh, let me try it this way. Let me try it that way. No. You do your round and you get off.
And the field is usually in use pretty much the whole time.
It is.
And at least, particularly in Huntington Beach, where they have to bring the grass in and lay it, because we're technically in the beach parking lot, they have to lay down sod. They want to preserve it as much as possible. So they don't really want people playing on it when it's not really intended to be used. Right. So they kind of want to limit everybody's time out there. As far as the practicing goes, because they're trying to keep the grass alive for the show, because they want nice green grass for the TV show. So a couple other kind of tips that you wouldn't know if you have never been, and it's always, you get surprised by these things when it's your first time and you're like, what? And if I had known that, it would have been nice. Another thing to consider is that when they do the filming on Saturday, they use like really big, like a boom camera, and then they have several other cameramen alongside the field with pretty large camera equipment.
Yeah, that's massive.
It's pretty big. I mean, it's serious. If you've watched the show, you know that their footage is really, really excellent. I mean, they get some of the most gorgeous footage in the sport. And, you know, there's a reason for that. They've got these huge, huge cameras.
Yeah,
so
that boom camera goes out into the field.
It does.
You will be able to look up and see it above you at some point in time, most likely during your round.
Yes.
So just keep that in mind if your dog is really nervous.
And they've started doing drone footage as well. They usually try to keep it very far away, and they're really great about,
they're
kind of
pros.
Pulling it back.
They know what they're doing.
Yes. And they're very accommodating if you say, hey, you know, my dog's afraid of drones, all of that. But, you as a competitor have to know that they're doing that to begin with. And but they're very kind, very accommodating. They just have to know what you need. So
everybody at the IDC is the ultimate professional.
Oh yeah, they're super professional.
There are so many people that have said that they do it once and they say they've treated me better than anybody anywhere ever. It is all about you and your dog. 100%. I mean, of course, this is going to be in TV and things like that, and they're sponsoring their brand, but they want their people to be happy that are competing. And it's really amazing.
They treat you like rock stars, really.
They do. I mean, you will feel like you are the greatest person on earth before you even get to do your round.
Yeah.
And regardless of where you play, still you are treated just like the greatest.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I mean, it's one of those things that it's such a small field that it's really an honor to be there. So, you know, if you happen to make it into one of these events, whether by invite or by qualifying, be glad. I mean, if you play sixth, you can't even be upset because you are part of such a great group going into it. I mean, it's really an honor to be on the show to begin with.
You're talking 6 and 6 at the qualifiers. That's 12. And then 2 more people who are added at the finals because the people at the qualifiers.
Well, not all 6 go to the finals.
No,
typically.
But you have 2 at each of the qualifiers go to the finals. But then
yes and no, not always. They don't always invite 2. They guarantee the first place, and then sometimes they invite second.
But figure roughly 15 or under is the whole entire field of competitors the whole year.
Yeah, it's not very many. So,
you want to talk a little bit about like the format because it's
simple, absolutely
pretty simple. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean the basic rules are and now maybe these have changed over the years, but the last at least 10 years that I've been doing it, it's been dog and handler are the 2 categories, and then catch ratio.
That's right. And the catch ratio is just used for the judges to make their decisions on the scoring. Basically, it's not actually computed into your score directly.
Yeah.
And then
it's mainly a tiebreaker.
And it's out of 100 points, 50 and 50, I believe,
yes.
Right?
So the total is 102. So after your freestyle, you would take 2 bonus throws where you'll see the well done advertising where you will stand on one end in a Purina logo bonus square and throw to the opposite end of the field to another Purina logo bonus square. So they've changed the colors of it over the years. It's usually red and white. And it's, a lot of people ask, is it the same distance as a toss and fetch length field? And not quite. It's usually a lot shorter. I don't feel like it's a consistent distance, so I don't know if they actually measure it or not. But it generally tends to be 30 to 35 yards. Yes,
that's the range you're going to be throwing. It's a fairly small box. The box is maybe 12 by 12 feet. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's not that big.
It's not that big.
It's not that big. It's definitely a pretty small square. The wall is right behind the square. Whichever way you're going to throw, you could throw either way, just like in toss and fetch. But whenever you throw, you're going to be throwing towards a wall. And that wall, I mean, it's only it's maybe 2 or 3 feet behind. It's right there. Yeah, I don't know how many times, every competition, every one of these.
And usually the cameraman
throw the disc out of the back.
Oh, always
every
somebody does.
time.
I've done it a million times because it's really hard not to actually. And the camera person typically sits like right next to the bonus square too.
Right there. They're expecting you to be accurate in that one.
So if you throw low and fast, it's going to be a lot harder. Now, if you kind of throw it higher and loft it in there, you won't throw it out the back, hopefully, but, then you have the potential for the disc to kind of glide around and, get itself out of the
Right.
square.
And you only need to get a foot in. If they get a foot in the square anywhere when they catch it, then you're good. You get 2 throws or with 1 point each.
I've seen them, like a toenail, like they'll show the video back and it'll be like a little toenail and they're filming it. So they know.
Yes. Yeah. And they have a person who runs back there and is watching the square for you. Mm-hmm. The weird thing that I've noticed, just a little hint, if you haven't done it before, if you haven't done it very many times, is generally they don't tell you to do your throw. They don't say, okay, we're ready for you. I always say, are you ready? Because I don't want to do the throw and not have the person who's watching, because they're not standing there the whole time. They run there at the end of your routine. They run out there every time. I usually see them run, and that's whenever they do it. So I always make sure, I usually look at the person who's doing the announcing. I forget his name off the top of my head. Spinny. I usually look at him and say, am I good to go? Just kind of a visual thing. And he'll give me a thumbs up, or he'll announce, say, okay, Jeff, whenever you're ready, we're ready. And because I don't want to go up there and do the throw and them say, hey, we weren't ready. And
yeah, right.
Because they don't normally announce it. So that's just a little hint on the bonus throw.
Yeah.
And take your time. Pick up your discs off the field. They'll jump. The crew will jump on the field to help. If you don't want them to, before you're around, tell them. Just like we said, they're very nice and accommodating. Say, hey, my dog's a little iffy around people. Please don't come out. I'll pick up the discs. They're totally cool with that. But I've never had that problem. So if they always jump on, pick up the discs, and then I go through my discs and I pick the ones I want to throw. I have a hint for that as well. Okay. So now back in the old days, there used to be a big box and everybody would, fight over the discs. And if you were last to the box, you kind of got screwed. Well, now they've started allocating everybody, like usually 20 discs is what they've been giving people the last several years. And so the rules are that you could take out as many discs as you want. Now, if you get 20, most of us are not going to take out all 20. So you're going to have some extra discs. What I recommend doing, especially if you've got a disc destroyer like I do, is to take out 2 separate discs and very obviously put them like kind of on the side so that they're not in use. The judge doesn't expect that you're going to go pick them up. Like if you put them in the middle, the judge is going to expect that you pick them up in your freestyle. But if you put them off to the side, it's very obvious it's for your 2 bonus throws. You could have 2 fresh discs for your bonus throws if you, just plan to take some out there. And that is one of the things that she kind of alluded to. You have unlimited discs that you can take out. And the disc types over the years,
it's mostly been fastbacks consistently.
White fastbacks.
Now they've changed it up last several years. So they've gone to gold fastbacks, and then they've also gone to gold superstars. And then they were kind of doing this thing where Friday people would get fastbacks, and then Saturday people would get superstars. And then like some people, me, with Flair, because she's little, she couldn't play with the superstars. She could really only handle the fastbacks because they're not too heavy for her, but the superstars are too heavy. And I think a couple other people actually asked when they qualified on Friday, hey, can I use the same discs? Because either 1, they like the fastbacks for whatever reason, or 2, they don't want to change it on their dog because they've just done a bunch of playing with fastbacks. They don't want to change it for the next day because that's kind of a disadvantage. So they've asked, well, hey, can I just use the discs I use on Friday? So now they've started offering both. And then, sometimes they'll have small discs, but that's typically only by request if they have a small dog that they know is coming. So, if you have a small dog and you're in the qualifier or you've been invited and, your dog only plays with the small disc, you can ask for small discs and they'll usually accommodate. Now,
especially if you're invited. Especially
if you're invited. Now, will you get to choose which type of disc specifically? No, I'd love to put in my order for gold airs. That would be my dream. But, they are very accommodating with allowing the dogs to, play with what they play with safely. One of their biggest priorities is the dog safety. So, they're very accommodating for that reason.
And right now what I'm going to be using with Bon Bon is the Hero Adams. And in the past, they also had Hyperflight pup discs.
Competition standards, not the Jaws. Standard.
And then the other type of disc that they had a few years, it was for the bonus throws. And this came, I was one of the people who talked to them about this. I think you may have been
I did
involved with
too,
it as
because
well.
it was extremely windy.
We were saying it's getting a little dangerous, especially in Huntington Beach. We are not that far from the street and things like that. And a lot of people were throwing the disc out. It was getting blown out of the field on the bonus throws, especially because it's a much further throw than you typically do in freestyle. And we were saying, why not just let us have some heavy discs for that purpose?
We did get a heavy disc in the players pack, and it was a Euroblend.
Right. So,
and that's why they let us use
so
those.
they started using Euroblends. They used, at least for a few years, we had Euroblends, and they were white. I think they were all white. I can't remember. It's been a while.
I think they were purple.
I know we got white ones in the pack before.
Oh, we may have.
But I think the first year they provided them, they busted them out at the end, or they busted them out right before your rounds or something like that, and they were in a box and they were purple. So I think whenever we got ones in the bag, they were white, but
okay.
It's hard to remember all these details, but there could be some differences in discs.
And hey, they were really accommodating. They said, we don't love that the discs are purple for TV because it doesn't really go that well with the field, doesn't stand out, but we'll let you use them.
Right.
Because we don't want any, discs going totally awry.
And I have a feeling at the time they were only able to get the purple ones because the white ones weren't as popular in the Euroblends, but they have always made white Euroblends, but they're rare to see.
Well, Pro Plan color is also purple.
Oh, it is.
Too.
That's
yeah,
true.
Yeah. So they've had some years, like the bonus square has had like purple, like the purple dog inside. So.
And the Euroblend, if you're not real familiar with it, it's a fastback that's made kind of like a superhero or a Jaws. It's not as popular, so a lot of people don't know it. But it's think of it as it's closer to a superhero, I would say, because it's a larger. The Jaws is a little smaller, as the Ridge is like a superhero. So it's similar.
Yeah, it's not my favorite disc to throw, that's for sure. But it was a heavier disc at the time, so it was helpful for us. So we pretty much covered most of the logistics of the competitions and, kind of tips and tricks if you've never been before and what to expect. So, now let's kind of get into some story times and some of our personal experiences and how much fun we've had over the years doing the IDC.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be a lot of fun to talk about the special moments and things like that. And so what are some of your memories? What sticks out to you?
Well, I mentioned, my first one was in 2009 with Sketch. That event was just so cool. What a way to kick off my time in the IDC. Did I think, however many years later now that I would have been doing it every year, which is such a blessing and so cool. I've been really lucky that the events have been all on the West Coast. So quite easy for me to get to, and Huntington Beach is not very far from me. So that event is always just really sticks out in my mind as one of the most fun events because you're basically on the beach. It's just a good, I don't know what it is. There's just a good vibe about it. They have the surfing dogs, which if I was more of a morning person, I would have gone and watched live by now, but maybe one of these days, but I do, it's so interesting to see the dogs do surfing. Some of them love it. Some of them are like, I don't know about this, but you can tell the ones that really love it, man. They're just like, they crack me up the way that they surf better than I do. And I'm from Huntington Beach. So that tells you something. So as far as like specific memories for me, well, one that stands out is the first time I won a regional event, and that was with Torch in 2013. And it was at the Rio Casino Hotel in Las Vegas. Now, you might think that sounds awesome. What fun. Well, I was 19. I was like, you guys couldn't have waited 2 years? Because, if you're not from the U.S., the drinking, gambling age, you got to be 21. So I was only 19. I was like, this is unfair. I wanted to watch everybody, lose all their money at least, but they wouldn't even let me hang out in the casino, which lame. I think I should have gotten a pass. But anyway, so I definitely stuck around the casino a little bit. Could I gamble or drink? No, sad. It would have been more fun. But, maybe it was to my benefit because Torch and I won. We actually had to do the last chance qualifier for that event. And I managed to get in with Sketch and Torch, which was surprising, but, Sketch was really good. Torch was really good. And then the other qualifier that day was Christina Weiss and Rania from Germany. And if you haven't seen Christina before, you've got to Google her. And especially Rania is so cute, like little, gosh, I forget the mix that she said she was, but maybe there's Dachshund or Cocker Spaniel or something.
It looks like there's some kind of little hunting dog.
She's not anything that you would expect of a disc dog. And she's just absolutely adorable. So yeah, definitely look her up if you haven't seen her freestyle before, because it was just the cutest thing. And Christina's a great thrower and great trainer as well. So, that event was really cool. I think just cause it was in Vegas. Now, as far as like the competition area goes, we were in the parking lot of the Rio and we managed to luck out. I don't know what it is with IDC, but they seem to have pretty good luck with wind. Maybe I should knock on wood for this weekend since, hopefully there's not much wind, but we know there will be. But we kind of lucked out that there wasn't a lot of wind at that event. And that, there wasn't really anything specific, but it was just so cool and so surreal to finally win an event that I'd been watching on TV for years and had been attending for years and playing in and, enjoying. So that was really awesome. And then, another one that stands out, I think, is, Huntington Beach. Every year has been really, really awesome. But I think, last year, 2024, when I played with Sora, I don't know what it was, but she was on fire, ready to go. I was on fire, ready to go. And we did the best routine that I've ever done at IDC. I mean, it was just, we were just on, we were nailing everything. I even threw a skip in there for the heck of it. And luckily Sora remembered what that was. Good thing she's really, really smart. That one was just really cool. And I love watching that back. And, it was a lot of fun because, there's just a lot of good people there and, friends that qualified and friends that got invited. And, it just made the event a lot of fun. And then I think I should do an honorable mention for the year that Torch won.
Honorable mention. That's my favorite moment of your IDC time.
What, 2017?
Torch winning.
Yeah. So Torch, in 2017, well, I'll start with where we started that year because we were not invited. And, Torch actually that year was like the first half of 2017 was really kind of a mess for Torch. First, he had the ball choking incident, which I'm sure we will go into detail on an episode one day.
Oh, wow. That'll be a great episode.
Well, it'll be great.
It'll be informative.
Yes, yeah, it'll be informative. But anyway, that's a whole other episode. So he had the ball choking incident. Spoiler, he lived, thank goodness. And then within a month, my other dog Volt tore his paw to shreds. So I wasn't even sure if he was going to be able to play in the IDC, which was months later. So it took a very long time for his paw to fully heal. And, Torch doesn't believe in rest. So it was like, okay, we really got to put the straitjacket on this poor dog so that he doesn't move because he doesn't believe in stopping. So, I lucked out and he was able to play starting a few weeks before the event. So, we didn't have a ton of practice. I didn't have a routine together really or anything. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do what we know works and go with that and just cross our fingers and hope we get in. So we did get in and we were kind of the underdog, I think, for that event. I mean, it's hard to say Torch is the underdog, but I think there was some other players that they were kind of hoping to see win. And Torch just had a day. I mean, he was just spectacular. And it was one of those things where he nailed it so well that no judge could refuse to give him a high score. He ended up winning that day, which was super, super cool and a lot of fun. So I was really excited to go to the finals that year. And we lucked out at the finals too. I mean, luckily we had a lot more time to practice by the time the finals came around. But, the journey to get there was a little bit, I was a little uncertain if we were going to be able to do it, but we did, and it paid off because we won the national championship. And it was a great event. And that one was tough to do too because, or the national, because the way that the field was there's a lot of trees around the field at the final, not a lot, but a few pretty big ones. And there was like the field was half shade, half sun, which made it challenging for a lot of the dogs to catch. So I have to say Torch did mighty fine job of, catching all of the sun and shade issues. So that was just a really great event. I mean, what can I say? They're all really great.
Yeah, I was really happy for you guys to be able to do that.
In some ways, I almost have trouble picking certain ones that stand out. That's sort of why I was drawn to the ones that we won, because every one that I've been to, like win or lose or podium or not, they're always super fun.
Yeah, they are absolutely.
Yeah. So let's hear some of your stories.
So I would say some of the big events for me, the very first time I went, just trying out. I didn't make it, but I tried out. That was the first big thing.
I think it was 2009. Yeah.
Yes, I think 2009. Then
with Enzo, right?
With Enzo, and then it was probably another year or two before we finally got invited. And then I think I got invited actually it was a number of times in a row with Enzo, and that was really nice. And so that was the next big thing. When you get invited, you just feel so wanted, and you feel like, oh, they want to see me and my dog out there. That is so cool. So that was a really big one for me, being invited, because that made me feel like I finally feel like we've accomplished something.
Yeah, you made it.
Made it. And then the next big one though for me was when Muse won the national finals, and I think that was in 2018.
Yeah, and it was in Huntington Beach.
It was in Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And that was the 20th anniversary. And it was I got some very unique ones. And this is the first one. There was no qualifiers that year. It was.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they just had the one event. It was just
the
national.
So,
and they had it in Huntington Beach, thankfully.
And the finals were here. And we believe it's because they want to have the surfing dogs. So we lucked out a lot in that. And I got invited to that one, which was great because it's in my backyard, and I'm able to compete at the nationals. I didn't have to qualify or anything. I'm just there. And I just remember having a rough week that week, and I hadn't even been able to practice that whole week. And the day before, I went into the backyard and did my round with Muse, and we just crushed it. Of course, that's just in the yard. It's just practice. But we crushed it, and it felt so good. And all of those worries I had just melted away. All of the stress I had with work and all these things that were going wrong, it all just melted away as soon as I played with her. It was, as soon as I threw the first disc, it was just all that went away, and I just felt wonderful. And whenever I was done with that round, I just felt, actually, I had a dinner that night with my wife and her family, and I said, I'm going out there and winning out with Muse. And I don't normally say I'm going out and winning this. I don't do that kind of thing. I just felt it. I just felt it. I said, I'm winning this one. And I went out there with Muse, and Muse was ridiculously good, and she won it.
That was awesome.
And that felt
and I got
great.
to be on the podium next to you.
And then, so the next one that was really big for me was 2020 during COVID.
Oh, that was such a wild,
crazy event, because there was basically no disc events that whole year. There was like a few here and there, but no national finals kinds of things. There was no world championships. I think
the only thing that really went on was the quad, and then
there was no freestyle.
Everything else didn't happen.
So I got an invite, and my invitation was with Key. And Key at that time was really struggling with her epilepsy, and she wasn't going to be able to play. So I'm thinking, and they specifically invited Key. So an easy out for me would have been to choose Muse, because just 2 years ago she had won the national finals. So I'm just going through my mind, what do I want to do here? And I'm thinking, you know what? This is a very unique time, unique situation. Zen was my new dog, and she was a young girl. She was, she had never competed. She was,
because you got her in 2019.
At the end of 2019, we got Zen. Yeah. And she never had played, but she was an adult at that time. I don't remember exactly how old she was, say 10 months or something like that. So
she was like a year and a half
at the finals. Yeah, it was like 20 months, probably close to 2 years old. And
but she hadn't competed because it had been COVID. The whole time that you had her pretty much been COVID.
So I went simply because I wanted her to be able to have that experience. And I honestly expected to end up in last place. And I'm not just saying that, just like I really did, because we had not had like a great round up to that point, to be honest with you, just practicing. And we were just practicing and not really worrying too much. And because of COVID, I'm thinking, is that really happening? Like, is it going to happen?
Yeah, we thought it was going to be canceled like right up until the week that it was like happening. We were like, I don't know if this is going to be happening. Like, this might get canceled. Like, what do you want to do this weekend when it gets canceled? That's what we thought that they were going to cancel, and they didn't.
And I'll be honest with you, I did not put a ton of training into it leading up to it until those last couple of weeks, because I just kept her kind of in shape and ready a little bit, maybe practicing once or twice a week kind of thing. And, but not doing a lot, really not doing a lot. And then when it looked like this might happen, then I pushed for probably about 2 weeks. I pushed pretty hard every other day, probably doing a round with her, 1 round every other day, maybe 2 rounds in a day, something like that. Maybe take 2 days off, mix it up a little bit. And then we go out there, and sure enough, the event went on, and it was just wacky. It was invite only. When I say wacky, it's not because they did anything wrong.
No. They did an excellent job. They were amazing. Really great. They actually handled it very, very well. And they were super professional, and they were very clear in everything that, we needed to abide by to make sure that they were able to have the event, because they really wanted to have the event. I mean, they're so passionate. I mean, these are some of the most passionate people in our sport. And it's kind of funny because they're not competitors in, dog sports themselves, but they are some of the most passionate people about dog sports and dog sport competitions that you'll ever meet.
Right.
And they all really wanted to make sure this happened. And of course we had to follow rules to make sure that everything was COVID safe. I mean, I remember them coming to the RV and taking temperatures.
We had to come out in the morning to get our temperatures checked, and we
were like,
wild.
Please don't have COVID, otherwise we're going to be locked in the RV. We drove all that way.
2.5 days of driving or whatever straight. I mean, and then you're going to have 2.5 days driving back. That would be rough. Oh God, would that be an awful thing to go through? What a wasted trip, right?
Right. Well, my side tangent on that trip was that we got to meet baby Flair on the way.
Oh, that's right. Yes, we visited. We went together on the trip, and we got to visit Flair.
We decided to go together because it just was easier, since our families, I think, only had so much time. I don't know.
Yes.
This always happens. It's somebody doesn't want to or can't take off work, and then we end up going together because it's like, oh, okay, do you want to do that drive? And then we look at each other and shake our heads that we don't want to do the whole drive ourselves. So then we'll go together sometimes. But we got to meet little baby Flair at 3 weeks, and she was cute.
So I took Muse with me because I'm thinking, if for some reason
she freaks out,
freaking out or something, then we'll just I'll just substitute Muse last moment. And Muse wasn't even playing. I had no routine with her, but
Muse is great. I mean, she knows what she's doing.
We would have done well. To be honest with you, I would have expected to do better with Muse with no practice than with Zin, just because she was so young and she barely even knew how to play.
I think that's why you won, to be honest.
So I think it's because Zin's awesome.
Well, yes, Zin's awesome too, but I mean, obviously you couldn't have won if she wasn't awesome, but I think that that's also part of, like, you weren't like nervous or worried or like, stressing about it, because
it was part of it.
I mean, you were just more concerned about making it a good experience for your puppy.
Although they ended up putting pressure on me, which I'll get to that in a second. You'll hear why. But so the warm up day, I took Zin out onto the field and did the warm up with her, and she was just like deer in the headlights, not sure what the heck is going on, and not really trying. It wasn't that bad, but it didn't feel right to me. I knew it was way off. And
kind of like what you would expect from a puppy or something.
Yes, exactly. And with all of it was just so strange with everyone with masks, and you had your little stalls you had to be in. It was.
Oh, and she hadn't been like socialized really all year or been anywhere.
So we ended up, the next day I took her down to a little grass area just to try her out. And when I did that, it was a different dog. And that
was away from all the.
It was away from everything. And I said, Kirby, and she was going nuts on the way there. She's freaking out, seeing all the people just going bananas.
Excited.
Well, she's freaking out. She's barking at people.
Oh, okay.
She's not liking it. She was
Oh,
upset.
I thought she was excited.
No, she was upset.
That's what she does now. Is she's just
And then
excited.
I take her down to the field and I do this round with her, and she was incredible. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was almost like all this anger came out of her, and she's hitting the disc hard. And I told Kirby, I'm like, she's playing. Oh, she's going to play. We're in.
Yeah, because I was like
excited.
asking him after. I'm like, you want to switch to Muse? You going to switch to Muse?
So,
might want to.
So then we go there, and sure enough, I made the decision to take her and to play with her, and they give the running order. And a little hint about the running order, it appears as if it is maybe where they think the finishing will be. They try to order you in their opinion of what the order might be.
Well, sometimes it's not opinion. Sometimes they just put the winner from prior year last. It's typically what they do.
But every time I had won and gone back to the event, I never was the last person to go. So
I've had that happen.
It's not.
It's not like cut and dry.
It's not, but you see a little bit of a pattern with it. The people who just qualified always are the ones that go first.
Yeah, I think it's a general. It's a general. I don't think it's exact. I don't know. Maybe they do really think about it. But you were last.
So I was eating, and Kirby comes over, and she said, "Did you see the order?" No, I'm eating. I was watching the agility or whatever it was before us, and she said, "You're going last." And I'm thinking, "Are you serious? I'm going last?" So they threw a little pressure because they don't have you going last if they think you're not potentially going to win.
Yeah.
So I go out there, and me and Zen start out, and very first throw, great. The next trick I do it so loud with the music that when I do the next trick, she's not used to playing with music either, especially anything loud like that. I do the next trick, and I give her a command. She didn't even go for it. The disc goes off to the side, and she's standing in front of me looking at me. Do you know how bad that is and how bad that feels when it's the second throw? So I'm thinking this is a struggle. So I actually started, I guess you could say, a little bit nervous. I'm starting to worry a little bit. My next throw is some kind of airbrush. And when I did it, it fumbled out of my hand and went kind of wonky, wobbly. And Zen goes over and tips it and catches it. And then whenever she did that, I thought, oh, she's in it now. She's in it. She just saved me. You know what? She just saved me. She didn't hear my command for the other one. It wasn't her fault that she didn't go for it. She just saved me. She gave me so much confidence. And then at that moment, I don't know what happened, but I went into some other kind of zone, and she was in some other kind of zone I'd never even seen her in before. But we've never competed, so I don't know. Who knows? I guess we don't really know how she would be. And went through the rest of the routine with no misses. I made up some throws on the fly and things like that. It was wonderful. She hit both bonus throws, and she won it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I would say, and for my whole entire career, that is absolutely one of my favorite moments. It's I cried when I saw the score. That was crazy, unexpected, shocking. First competition, go out and win it. That was really an amazing one for me.
That was super cool.
So is there anything else you'd like to add for the
I was just gonna add on that story. Mm-hmm. That was Torch's last IDC.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And when you were gonna go, you asked me my suggestion, and I said you should play with Torch.
Yeah, so I was actually having this debate between, at that same event, playing Torch or Sora. Torch was 10. Now he was great, like he was really good. But I also had Sora, who's a young dog, who's also really good. And I thought, well, this might be Torch's last competition. And now looking hindsight, I'm like, well, that was really stupid. I mean, Torch still competes. He's like, that dog he just doesn't want to quit. He's so in love with the sport and playing Frisbee that he just doesn't want to quit. But I thought that may be like his last competition altogether. Because I'm like thinking, okay, he's 10, like he might, not be, or at least last competitive competition, I should say. And so I was kind of debating Torch and Sora. And of course, when I have these debates, I tend to always pick the older, more experienced dog, because I feel like the young dog always has more opportunities, more chances, and the older dog is probably going to have less opportunities. So I generally tend to pick my older dogs. And way back when there was AWI and it was like a 2-dog limit back in like 2012, Torch had already won a world championship. I picked my 2 older dogs over him in the 2-dog limit, and I kind of felt bad. And I'm like, all right, I picked them when you were young. So now I'm going to pick you, even though Sora's young. And honestly,
Well,
Sora was really good. I mean, she's still really good. And it was kind of a tough choice because I'm like, I mean, they're both really, really good. So,
it's similar to me picking Zen because
but I think Zen had less experience, right? Like Sora was already a world champion. So I knew
Zen had no experience, but it was the idea that I could have picked a dog like, I could have picked Muse.
Yes.
Where I know is a surefire way to go in there and have a great round and have a really good shot of winning.
Well, that was like kind of me with Sora. I was thinking I may have a better shot with Sora winning.
Right. And I went the emotional route though.
No, well, me too. I chose Torch.
Exactly. That's why I say it was the same. Yeah. I wasn't sure if I'd ever do it again. And I thought, Muse has already done it. Has already won it.
Yeah.
Let's let Zen have this opportunity for good or for worse or whatever. Let her have that chance. And I didn't, I think when I said I wasn't sure if she was going to play and things like that, I just wanted her to be happy and be able to do it. I wasn't thinking, oh, she better have this ability to go out and win. It wasn't like that at all. I just wanted her to be able to play at the level I know she can play. And that's what she did. Well, she went way beyond.
Yeah, she was awesome. Way better than you expected. And for the record, Torch did finish on the podium, so he did quite well too. But I do always wonder, I wonder if I would have played with Sora. But it's okay. Sora got to play 2021, 2022, and she gets to play this weekend, 2025. Oh, she played last year too. So Flair I played in 2023 because I thought, well, IDC is kind of like a great event for Flair. So Flair will be back for sure. But I'm going to give, again, I went with my older dog and a little more experience. I want to give Sora another chance at least, maybe a few more years of Sora, and then Flair's going to take it because I think Flair, I mean, hoping we still get to compete, but I'm going to hopefully continue attempting and, if we don't get invited, try to qualify. And yeah, Flair will be back eventually.
Yeah. So any last advice?
Yeah. I think where we kind of want to leave this is that, the Incredible Dog Challenge is, as it says, incredible, it truly is. And it's such a spectacular event. It's so different from everything that your normal competition world, it'll blow your mind. It'll be something totally different. You're going to get treated like a rock star, whether you're invited or not. So, we said that you can go on Friday and qualify. And a lot of times I hear people a little apprehensive or kind of afraid, like, well, it's going to be filmed for TV. And like, I don't know if I'm good enough, or I don't want to go out there and embarrass myself, or it's only for really, really good people.
It can feel intimidating.
It can feel very intimidating. And the qualifier is generally limited to 15 people. Back in the day, you had to go get up early and be the first one there and line up. Now, I never saw them turn anybody away when it was too full, but now you register online in advance. So you don't have to get up at the crack of dawn and be the first one there. But you register online and they usually take 15 people to play. And most of the time, in my experience, they have not filled up that limit. And to me, it's always a shame because I think of it as like, what an opportunity to come play. And whether or not you're the best or you're at your peak or anything like that, I think it's so fun to just go and enjoy the event. And like
take advantage of it.
Yeah, take advantage of it because the spot's open. Go experience the event.
They want you to be there.
It's so cool. They want you to be there.
No matter what your level is. Every year we usually see like one person that we have never even seen this person in our lives.
Yeah, that's true. Somebody always comes out of the woodwork.
And then we never see them again, which is fine. But they just play with their dog. They're not really Frisbee people, but they're playing Frisbee with their dog and they're having fun.
Well, they are Frisbee people. We're probably in their backyard or at their local park. And they maybe don't even know the rest of the competition world exists, but they saw this on TV or wherever. Right. And they're like, let's do it. You should do it because there is always somebody that comes out like that. And we're like, who are they? Who is this person? We're like, they're not like a normal competitor that we see locally. And,
well, you're not a normal competitor either, but we see you a lot.
Well, hey, who's talking? Who's talking? So, yeah, I just highly encourage you to come do it. I remember I don't want to say bullied, but I definitely, bothered Ken Hogson to do it last year. And I said, you have to do it. He's like, I'm not a freestyler. I'm like, I don't care.
Matter.
I'm like, well, you're going to become a freestyler and you're going to go out there and do it. And he didn't regret it, man. I mean, we just had a great time. It was like a big party and just a ton of fun. So don't be intimidated if you don't feel like you're the best competitor or, you know, the highest level. Go do it. Go enjoy it. And you get to tell your friends, your coworkers, and your family, hey, I was on that thing. I got to try out for it. Even if you didn't make it, I'm telling you, it's worth it. It'll be a lot of fun. So that's my recommendation.
Absolutely. And what I always say, love your dogs. This is the Disc Dog Pod. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.